It's an item, agenda item.
Item number 5, Mayor's report for the engagement for October 2019.
Didn't tell me Whitby Road.
Yeah, he said in the highest and attention engagement.
Oh, that one.
At the bottom.
Thank you.
Have we got a seconder? Councillor Darwin, for all in favour of completing the engagement.
Please have the show of hands.
Did you have a question with regard to the citizen engagement?
The question will wait till after we've accepted them.
Oh. So all in favour of accepting them? Yeah.
Councillor Barnett, are you voting or not voting?
Sorry?
Are you voting or not voting?
I'm abstaining.
Again, no abstention. Councillor Knox, do you want to say something?
Yes, thank you for letting me know. I noticed that we've had celebrations here to commemorate the birth of Captain Cook. And I understand that they are making quite a big thing of it in New Zealand. Have we any representation there? Have we sent them any letters of congratulation, missives or anything of that nature?
I've been in communication with one of our contacts out in New Zealand who is quite closely involved with it. He's the gentleman who we did the Skype link with, so he's been sort of keeping us informed. I mean, it's been a massive thing out there. The town of Gisborne, we'd already been in contact with them previously, because at one point we were hoping the mayor might be able to go, but that didn't quite work out. But yes, I think they know that we're fully behind them. If you want to propose that we send a letter.
Well, I'm just surprised that they haven't invited someone from the council out there.
They did.
They did?
They did. They invited the mayor, but unfortunately the mayor in the end wasn't able to go.
I see, okay. Thank you.
If Council Knox isn't going to propose to send a letter of congratulations on their celebrations, then I would like to propose that we send a letter from this council congratulating them on their celebrations and the way that they have celebrated the event, and also thanking them for the invitation.
Yeah, we've already done that.
Have we got a second for that letter? Dr. Smith, all in favour of sending the letter? That's unanimous. Item 6A, letter sent by council for information only.
Anybody wants to do it?
Councillor Smith, Councillor Wilson, all in favour? Items for circulation and information only, one to renewal SBC press release and letter CCM and letter sent from Finance Policy General Purpose Committee. Councillor Stevenson, I've got secondary, Councillor Winston, all in favour of receiving that letter? Unanimous. 2, Whitby and Doom AGM agenda and procedure report. Someone received that information. Councillor Winston, Councillor Jennison, all in favour?
Comment on that and say congratulations to them. It's a fantastic achievement, and again I'm sure that's been done.
Well, we've actually got it on the agenda.
Just while we're speaking to receiving that.
Just
Thank you. C, committee to receive information on current committee members and responsibilities regarding attendance, absence and substitution. Copy period.
Right. We have several committees, and we have substitutes for those committees. We have one particular committee today the allotment subcommittee, and we have one vacancy on there, which means we only have 5 members. But unfortunately, we had one member on holiday, another one was at work, but we couldn't hold the meeting because there weren't enough people there. We needed at least 3 people.
Could I say that, Mayor? I'm actually still on that committee and I wasn't informed whatsoever because I'd been informed.
Yes, but that's what I'm just coming on to. It's not up to the office to contact substitutes.
I'm not saying
No, I'm just explaining. It's up to the councillors who are not going to be able to attend to contact substitutes and ask the substitute to attend on their behalf. But this morning we had to abandon the meeting. We will be rescheduling it, but as we go through the committee list, we need to get more people on that allotment subcommittee. Now, I think Councillor Barnett, you're a member of that committee.
The allotments committee?
Yes.
Yes, I phoned in my apologies.
Who did you give them to?
Oh, one of the people in the office.
I never received them.
Well, you know, I don't know.
But we've had three meetings.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, I mean, you know, going back to what Sandra was saying, you know, I mean, surely it's up to the office to say, look, you know, we're short of people, you're a sub, you know, I can't turn up, therefore I phone Sandra, right? Yeah. And all the rest of it, okay? Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I'm only a volunteer. You know, I would have thought...
Well, would you like to come on?
Just a minute. I would have thought the sensible protocol would be when the office know that somebody can't turn up, they get in touch with a sub or get somebody else in. That's all I'm saying. It's not complicated.
I have to disagree with that. If you can't attend a meeting for whatever reason, it is your responsibility to contact the subs. It has to be. It can't be your responsibility.
What happens then if the sub is not available?
Then you report the matter to the clerks.
Right. Okay.
Councillor Steve.
I haven't got time in my life for all that.
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with the council. When the committees are formed, people, I'm sure, in good faith nominate positions and try to attend. And there are people who are good enough to put their hand up to be substitutes in the event that those people can't attend. And there could be any number of reasons which might prevent a member of a committee from being able to contact the subs. Why is it not the responsibility of the office? I don't really
understand. It never has been.
Well, it may not ever have been, but I don't understand why. I'm not sure why that's not an administrative matter. We have members of the committee and we have substitutes, and I would have thought that provided the members of the committee have advised to the office of their inability to attend, that the ease of contacting substitutes from a central point, being the administration of the town council, makes perfectly good sense. I don't understand.
But it's your responsibility.
Well, you're saying that, I know, but I'm asking why. I don't know why it is not the responsibility of the office.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not wishing to cause an argument, but I believe we all take on a certain responsibility when we put ourselves forward as councillors. And I don't think it's such an onerous task that we're asked to notify someone who is nominated as sub for that committee that they are unable to attend a meeting. This isn't the first time I've been in this position where I'm sub on allotments and I haven't been notified and council meeting hasn't been able to go on. And that's just, I can only allude to the allotment committee because that's one of the two that I'm on. But I don't think it's such an onerous task that we pick up a phone and phone each other.
It may not be onerous, but it may not be possible.
Is it within the county law?
I'm going to say this, but it's always been the protocol that it is a council's responsibility to attend the meeting. It is not certainly full council, it's not an invitation, it is a summons. We're a little bit more relaxed on committee, but you could actually make it a summons as well, because you're there working on behalf of the council. And, you know, it is the council's responsibility that if they cannot attend, right, A, they report it to the office, but secondly, that they contact a substitute on the list. I mean, I've never known anywhere that doesn't do that. It just, you know.
I mean, the other point that...
That's just the way it works everywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, just anecdotal, again, if you'll forgive me, there was a meeting recently of the Art Gallery and Whitby joint committee. 4 attend, 2 did not apologise. I had to phone up on the day to find out if I was needed as a sub for that meeting, and quite frankly, I shouldn't have to do it.
I think I may have been one of those for that the art gallery meeting, although I think I did email in to say that I wasn't going to be there. But it's the 21st century. I don't see a problem why, if you are a committee member, that you could just send an email, and you can send it to to all the people on that committee, just saying I'm not going to be there, and you kill two birds with one stone there. You notify the clerks that you're not going to be there, you notify everybody else that you're not going to be there, and then the sub can come in, and I don't see an issue with that.
Some of us have jobs that might not there.
Pardon?
Some of us have jobs that might not there.
Point of order, Chair, we're going round in circles. That is the policy.
Well, I don't think it is a policy, it's the practice, but...
Let's own business. So we need to get on, we need to be getting more people on.
Onto the allotment
Can I
committee.
just make a final point?
No, I do business.
No.
Point of order, progress has been moved.
The point is,
Sorry,
this,
point
right,
of order,
that
sorry.
to my mind, I do not have,
Councillor Barnett.
no, I do not have, no, I'm going to carry on. I do not have,
The point of order has been made.
an email address.
But we're moving on with business.
A point of order has been made, and point of order means that we've moved progress and we're moving on. And the thing that we're moving on to is we need somebody else who can attend and who will attend on the allotment subcommittee.
Is he resigning?
I've no idea.
He resigning from that committee? Excuse me.
Sorry, Councillor Darwin.
Thank you. Though I am on a number of committees, I think that's because sometimes my availability is I can attend a number of committees. I am more than happy to go on to the allotment subcommittee if no one else wants to do it. And can I just say, though we have moved on, it's your responsibility, you can't attend, you get a replacement, but I'm quite happy to stand for the allotment subcommittee.
Thank you, which will at least...
No, but that's not the point, I've not resigned.
Right, okay, that's fine. So, Councillor Darwin falls now to the allotment subcommittee.
Yeah.
With Councillor Turner still as a substitute.
I mean, is there anybody else who would like to be a substitute so that we've got 2? Anybody else? It usually meets the morning of full council at 11 o'clock.
So it's the first Tuesday.
First Tuesday of every month.
At 11 a.m.
So I'm having difficulty, my left ear's collapsing. Are you looking for an additional sub?
Yes, please.
I will do it.
Thank you, Councillor.
We only have 1 substitute on the, no, should I say, we don't have any substitute at all for the event subcommittee.
For the which committee?
Event.
Event.
It's the one that does the Christmas festival, Armed Forces Day, etc. Yeah.
When does it normally?
It's an as and when,
Right.
usually evenings.
Generally, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Generally, Wednesday. Councillor
Councillor Turner,
Turner.
I put my name forward, no one else just to sub on that committee.
Yeah, I think that's that. So if we could just have a...
Just saying, if we want another sub, then I'll go with another sub for that.
On there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have a proposal and second that would be Colin, Bob, all in favour? Again? No, that's unanimous. The information on council government documents in the Good Councillor Guide.
Right, you've also been supplied with a copy of this tonight, the latest version 2018. Right, the council have a large number of documents, governance documents, which we are ruled by. They are all available on the website, but it appears that some councillors either aren't aware of where they can find those documents, or that they don't know that they exist. So, what I'm proposing to do is, where councillors want a paper copy, it's probably a file about that thick, we will provide councillors with a paper copy. Other councillors may want it in an electronic form, and we can supply it in electronic form. So instead of having to go onto the website to look at something, you'll either have it yourself as one electronic file, or you will have it as a paper file. And I just need a list of names of who wants what.
Should we go around the table?
Yeah.
Councillor Smith. Councillor Trump. Councillor Barnett.
Yeah, I mean, don't we get an opportunity to discuss some of these ideas?
What
What
ideas?
ideas?
Well, the Good Councillor's Guide, which I really need to see. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of good stuff in there. I mean, well, all right, I'll have it in paper format, but I'd also like the opportunity to talk to other councillors about some of the stuff that's in these documents, as opposed to just have, a load of paper.
Councillor Stevenson. Electronic or paper? Councillor Jackson.
Electronic, please.
Councillor Darwin.
Electronic, please.
Yeah.
Terry.
Well, I think I've got plenty to do, haven't you?
So much changed though, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to, when we review a document and we agree the new one, you're supposed to update the copy, but I don't know whether you have done that or not. So some of your copies might be out of date. So you've got
It's very likely, yes.
So you've got
It's there for them.
Councillor Winston.
Electronic, please.
Councillor Knott.
Electronic.
Councillor Derrick.
Electronics.
So can I propose that we receive what we've discussed? Councillor Wilson, Councillor Derrick, all in favour. Thank you. E, my town funding confirmation of the inclusion of Whitby in the town's fund and important social community meeting.
Right. I've got a bit of an update on the My Town's funding, which is very, very exciting. I received the prospectus now, which indicates that the first thing we will have to do is we will have to establish a town deal board. Now, there's some contingency funding set aside specifically to, like, a start-up, and there's £140,000 initially allocated to Whitby. So we need to go through this prospectus with fine-tooth comb, see where our projects can fit in, consult with other areas of the town and with other organisations in the town, because basically there's £25 million to be spent in Whitby if we can come up with good enough projects that meet the criteria. The Borough Council will be working with us on this. They have also got £25 million to Scarborough. So some of it will, I mean, Scarborough's money is Scarborough's money, but this money is for Whitby and Whitby alone. But the Town Council need to be at the forefront of driving this. We've got a number of projects already in pipeline. You're all aware of the Town Hall project. The residents' car park down at Slicker Bridge, which we've been having problems because of the highways access. We can probably resolve that with that one. I know Councillor Turner, we spoke about actually improving the whole Calabec area. There's lots and lots of things that can be thrown into there. We can work with Whitby Blue, bring in other organisations, so it's really exciting. So I think this particular document, the prospectus, needs to go to finance. Needs to go to finance in the first instance, and we then come back with some recommendations to full council about how we go forward with it.
Will we all receive a copy of it?
I can send you all a copy.
I would be really
to be interested in that, As I say, I only received it myself yesterday, so although I've had a scan through it, I haven't read the details.
Councillor Turner?
Would it be something that town improvement really should get involved in as well?
I think it will be a combination of everybody.
Right.
It'll be town improvement, it will be
Anything.
anything, you know, Planet Art Gallery. I mean, we've in the past talked about extending the Planet Art Gallery so that we can have government indemnity and more national quality pictures. We've had ideas for the Westcliff toilets and paddling pool. There's the East Side facility from the Harbour Committee that we can provide, hopefully, some funding for that. Lots and lots of things.
Would it be an idea to form another committee with members from each?
Finance first,
Okay.
Councillor Wilson.
I was just going to go through the finance.
Councillor Turner, if you want to
I'm just going to come back and say, obviously, there will be accommodation and then get the public in on board so that, I've read it there, but
there's a lot of sort of the Facebook side especially about what people want to see in the town, and obviously we're doing our own consultations and things like that, so I'd say quite exciting.
Councillor Down.
I'll second it.
Seconding Councillor Wilson's proposal. So all in favour that this document goes to finance in the first instance? That's unanimous. On the favour that Councillor Matthew on that's all right.
I'll
figure that out.
I'll figure that one out.
Item 7, letters received by the council, property. Response from Hamilton, Richmondshire and Whitby CCG regarding radiology services. It looks as though the Councillor Stevenson.
There's a problem with the letter that I've written because it answers a question we haven't asked. What we asked was, what is the future? And what are their intentions regarding radiology services? Now, given that they've been able to so skillfully avoid answering what is really a very simple question, I have to say that it makes me somewhat sceptical because we know that the CCG has not decommissioned any radiology services in Whitby. Everybody knows that. We didn't need to ask that question. We know they're still there. The question was, what is the future of radiology services? And as a consequence of this response, I move that we write to them again, pointing out that, thanking them for their response, but pointing out the fact that we're well aware that radiology services have not been decommissioned. Our question is, what are their intentions for the future of radiology services?
Councillor Bennett?
Yeah, I'd just like to second that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the motion.
Councillor Knox?
Gareth will get
Would it be an idea to invite someone from the CCG to come here and talk to us so we can ask the questions direct, all in one go?
I don't have a problem with that, and they have been here before. It took 3 letters to get them here, but I don't mind adding that to the letter, that we include that invitation. But I would certainly want the question to be asked again in the manner that I've just suggested.
Can I suggest an amendment to Councillor Stevenson's proposal?
I'll accept that. When you say amendment, you mean as an addendum, as an addition to?
Yes.
Yes.
Councillor Barnett, as a second, willing to accept that?
Yeah, I'll accept that. Let's have it read back and let's go to the vote.
So the motion is that we thank the CCG for their letter and ask them once again what the future of the radiology department is and invite them to come and meet with us here.
At the next meeting?
You can ask them to the next meeting, but...
Sorry?
You can have them, but past history would suggest it might be a little time before we get
At
there.
the earliest opportunity.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't give them too much time.
No, or earliest opportunity.
Pressure on.
Yeah, sure. Look, I'm happy to accept whatever words you want, but
So I've got invite to the next meeting or earliest opportunity.
Thank you.
So we've got a proposer and a seconder, all in favour of that motion? That's unanimous. Item D, response from SPC regarding a lodged hatchery meeting.
Thank you. I noticed that Alex Richards is suggesting a meeting with himself and Nick Edwards. Has that meeting taken place yet?
No. Because you're only just receiving the letter.
Sorry?
You're only just receiving the letter.
Well, the letter's dated 9th of October,
Yeah.
and I just wondered if the meeting hasn't taken place, have you taken steps to arrange a meeting?
Not yet.
The relevant committee?
I need full council to tell me what they want to do. Do they want to have a pre-meeting? Do they then want to take it to the full council, or do you want to take it to the harbour committee?
All right.
I can't decide for you.
Forgive me, some things are decided by council, some things are decided by individual committees. I was just
They're not decided
clarification on
by,
that.
yeah, but they haven't been anywhere else.
Okay.
They're not decided by officers.
Councillor Barnett.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to suggest that we take them up, Alex Richards and Nick Edwards, and say, come to this. Because this is the sovereign body of the council. I mean, they say, if this suggestion reaches your agreement, please contact me to discuss potential dates. I'll just say ASAP.
Councillor Sunday.
As you know, this is something that came before Harbour, and we had a presentation, albeit brief, from Mike Russell and some of the fishermen. They are happy to come and give a full demonstration on this, but it would obviously need to be with Nick Edwards and
Alex.
Alex, to actually show us what potentially could be done with this lobster hatchery. And I propose that we bring it before full council and that they bring their presentation. Maybe not this next one, but possibly the December or January.
Yeah, well, the next one is December, but...
So
January.
January. I would suggest January.
Right, so you don't want a pre-meeting, you want it to come straight to full council.
I think, yes,
Yeah.
I'd propose that.
So all in favour? Again?
Was that again? Two
Two
again.
again. Item C, Morton Secret Railway, emails from a member of the public. This is something we discussed a lot before, last week.
Yeah.
Taking that little bit of track.
We have, and where it sort of fell down at that point was Pickering Town Council weren't overly in favour of extending the line, but obviously this is somebody else who is again raising this issue. It would make a massive difference to Whitby if we could get that connection, because you'd be able to get straight to York and to London and to the world will be your oyster, as the man said. So, I think it was Town Development and Improvement that ran with it before. I've got a file about something, so council, do you want to pick up with it again?
No. Councillor Turner.
Would it do any harm to pick up, because councils change all the time, doesn't it?
Supermarket, right, there is, but you know, there's no reason why they couldn't cross the road and the station be on the other side.
I think I would propose that we take this up again and just see if there's any appetite to move it further or even have further discussions. Councillor Barrett?
I second that, I mean, I think this is, as Pam just said, this, connectivity is a major issue for us, and we should acknowledge this person's effort, whoever it is, and we should take it again, because really, we just have to improve connectivity in this area of the world, and I think that's what we're after. And as you're about to say, it would make an enormous difference.
Do you want to pick it up again with Town Development and Improvement? That's who ran with it last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's where it goes.
Yeah, that's who dealt with it last time.
So all in favour of sending it to Town Improvement, pick it back up again? And to the D, Francis Park, request to sign the donation box in the park. Yes, Councillor Wilson.
Oh, I propose that as long as the people, it's a nice thing, so yes, go ahead.
My concern is that if they put it too close to building, to the museum building, is it going to take away from our kind of outstanding donations, the museum donations? And another kind of worry about mine is the park's not really secure in the night time, there's nothing to stop kids coming and smashing it up and falling. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Although I support this in principle, I too have concerns like yourself. I mean, it's not too long ago one of the beautiful carvings was met on fire. So I just think there's vulnerability attached to this, providing that can be manufactured out somewhere, whether it was a huge rock ball thing that you put, I don't know, but there must be some way of looking at that. That would be my only concern.
I didn't have to attend that meeting of the point that the idea basically is some tools that we used in Ellis Garden and bottom 190 steps, steel post, set into concrete, flap over the top with a padlock that's secure, and they were going to wrap it round with one of their gardens that was a statue of a garden, and they were going to put that round shape, so it wasn't a very choosing. Plan petition for locating it wasn't, but they are very secure and bushy top.
So we support the principle, having seconded.
Yeah,
but I kind of still feel that we're not too close to our building as to not take away from us on the museum.
So if I just ask them about location and the design.
I think from recollection, the thinking about near the notice board of the ancient park,
So all in favour of that? Motion. Again? One again. SCC interim review of planning district controlling places.
Not a lot of options.
No.
Yeah.
We need voting stations within the town, and I think that they've looked at that quite thoroughly, and
Yeah.
there's very little alternative ways of suitable parking or access for public crowds and inductions to.
Councillor Turner, Councillor Ballance, will you second
Yes.
that? All in favour of receiving? Unanimous. Item F, Rural Market Towns Group Forum and invitation to join. Would you like to go?
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
The council should,
Yeah.
really.
£50, I don't think it's too bad.
Absolutely.
For what we're doing. Yeah.
Yes, I'll propose.
Second, right, all in favour of joining? That seems to be unanimous, I think everybody has a hand in the plan. Item 8, committee recommendation.
I've circulated some extra ones too.
Okay.
I don't know which order I've got. So I'll set the merger of the CCGs first of all.
Can we
Yeah.
please, can we read that? Councillor Darwin for Councillor Lynch, they're all in favour of receiving. That's unanimous.
And the next one is the letter about the nomadic scallop trawlers, which I think is one of the some of them to Harbour Committee.
Yeah, just very quickly update you. We've had 2 meetings subsequently, and the guys, the local business and the Scotland have formed the Whitby Commercial Fishing Association. They've already had 1 meeting with the NMO, and they've got a meeting on Thursday with the NMO and IFCA as well. And it's all going well.
Proposed that we receive.
Yes.
Receive that information, seconded, Councillor Derrick, all in favour?
The Scarborough Council harbour charges, it's for information really, I believe it went through full council yesterday, the harbour dues.
Receive it. Councillor Turner, we've got a second to receive. Councillor Jensen, all in favour of receiving. Councillor Barrett? Yes.
And then the last one is not really directly affecting Whitby, it's about the urgent care at Briarage Hospital at Northallerton. It's just really, again, for information.
Need speak for information. Councillor Stevenson, Councillor Turner, all in favour? Item 8, committee recommendations. To consider and make any decisions or recommendations arising from the committee meeting. Finance F388/19 is a governance document, policy to conduct of public sessions, amended request by full council. Members considered the motion and took the view that to implement the motion, this would require an amendment to Standing Order 3H and should be classed as a special motion requiring 5 councillors giving written notice as per Standing Order 26B. Proposed by Councillor Dalrymple, seconded by Councillor Coghlan, and unanimously recommended that the requirement for the special motion is reported to full council.
So you want to,
Just for clarification, then, so you require the motion that was requested at the last meeting, you require it now in written format
Yes.
for that to take
For
place.
that to take place. It will go to the next full council meeting, but Standing Order, I think it's 26H.
Yeah.
So that goes to the next full council meeting, and then any motion to change standing orders in any way has to then stand adjourned until the next meeting, so it's January before we discuss it.
Discuss it all.
Yeah,
And
to
that then
go
that
for it.
meeting go to a vote. Sorry,
Yes.
but I'm
Yes.
just trying to clarify the
Yeah.
process of council work.
In January, then you can put it to a vote.
Right.
Okay, but I will need, it's in writing, 5 councillors requesting that that motion is put to the next full council.
The Councillor Barnett.
Sorry, I'm just mystified really, because Sandra and I put this motion and then it showed off somewhere and now we're in standing order 26th of June, which I don't understand, I have to say. I haven't got a clue what that is.
Councillor
Now, does this mean that, okay, so, you know, we get 5 councillors to sign a bit of paper? Does that have to happen every time?
No, only if it's a special motion to change standing orders.
Yeah, but I mean, the point I'm trying to make, Pam, is that we're asking for a suspension of standing orders so that we can ask people in the public to clarify a couple of points, you know. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for, you know, anything much more than that. And does it actually mean that every time, let's say I want to ask one of the people over there a question, you have to suspend standing orders? So, well, I don't know what it means.
Right, well, you weren't asking for an individual suspension of standing orders, you were asking for that particular policy to be changed. Right, you were asking but that policy is out of the things that are in standing orders. Right, that policy is derived from standing orders. So to change that policy, you have to change standing orders.
Oh, let's do it. You know,
Yeah, well, I need 5 signatures.
I think it just pays, one of the things I was advised when I became a councillor was to read standing orders, because it actually dictates how the council operates. And I think rather than waste time trying to challenge standing orders or say we don't agree with it, perhaps it would be better if individual councillors actually looked at it and followed the process. It would be a lot quicker.
So that's what needs to be done.
Yes. Okay, so the requirement is for a special motion, signed by 5 councillors to come to me. Who's to propose that?
Councillor Wilson.
Councillor
It's not a second then.
Councillor
Turner. All in favour? Against? All against? Item F391/19, the payment, members of the payment on behalf of the council to the 15th of October 2019, proposed by Councillor B. Jackson, seconded by Councillor J. Harton, unanimously recommended that scheduled payment up to the 15th of October 2019 in the sum of £23,325.83 as attached to is approved for payment and is submitted to full council. Councillor Wilson, all in favour? Against? Abstentions? Item F392/19, consideration of month budget 2019-2020. Members consider the budget to the end of month 6. Proposed by Councillor Coughlin and seconded by Councillor C. Inchday, and unanimously recommended that the budget to the end of month 6, 2019-2020 is received and submitted to full council. Councillor Vincent? Have we got a seconder? Councillor Knott, all in favour? That's unanimous. Item 9, motion submitted by councillors, proposed by Councillor Mr. and seconded by Councillor J. Harston, that a vote of thanks and congratulations is sent to Whitby and Graham for their gold award for Whitby in the National Britain Evening Contest. Absolutely.
Yeah, unfortunately, Councillor Hampton isn't in tonight, so we need him on the second one.
Councillor Turner. So all in favour of that motion?
Yeah.
there's this discretionary award, and for our involvement of the community college, we're also nominated for a discretionary award. And just following that, we're expecting to this tomorrow night from 6:30, and come and join us. So everybody's open and welcome to come. It's celebration evening. Yeah.
It'll be pink.
Yes, we'll find the tent, but you'll have to find the drinks. All right.
Councillor, GP Road is in the point.
So we've been checked out over, it's empty.
Right.
It's empty, the bag's all empty, so I've put a incident on and I'll get to keep an eye out for the guy in the morning, isn't there?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Proposed by Councillor O'Derrick and seconded by Councillor Turner. Reviewed the council unanimously rejecting the Yorkshire Coast destination bid and pending the Secretary of State re-examining the appeal. We propose that Whitby Town Council suspend its acceptance of funding towards the Christmas event from the bid company. Councillor Derrick?
Yeah, so just attending some of the Yorkshire Coast Levy Players Association meetings, seeing the strong feeling that there is from local businesses in the town about this whole project, as well as the work that's been carried out and the results, from the recent kind of survey that's been done, that around 84-85% of businesses didn't receive ballot papers. I think slightly less than that, 67% didn't receive any of the business proposition. And then with Scarborough Full Council looking into this and suspending, excuse me, there's two things. I think A, that the whole kind of project smells a lot, and B, I think by suspending that acceptance, it's just supporting local business.
Councillor Dalrymple.
Can I just clarify, by suspending you mean refusing or handing back? Because if we suspend it means we won't take it. So
We've all, just to clarify, we give residents money, we've already spent it.
all right.
Because you put funding bits in, you get the offer, you then spend the money, and then when you've completed your project, that's when you claim the money back.
So we've received this money, we've spent it and we've claimed it back. Okay, thank you.
It's exactly the same as we had £1,000 from the County Council locality budget, which Councillor Turner and Councillor Knott will be aware of, for Yorkshire Day, right? I got promised of that money, I spent money for Yorkshire Day, and then I reclaim it. And it's exactly the same with the previous money. So we basically already spent it.
Councillor Turner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Echoing Councillor Derrick's words on the reason the motion was before us, actually. The reason I seconded is that I have attended quite a lot of meetings by the Levy Players Association, and there is an awful lot of overwhelming feeling against the DBID. And basing it on the fact that the council unanimously rejected the DBID, then it leaves you, it's kind of a double hand on this. While there's still ongoing investigations into the DBID, and certainly areas of clarification are waiting to come back from the Secretary of State. I believe there's a second appeal to the Secretary of State. So it is really, from my point of view, again, as Councillor Derrick said, it's supporting the local businesses who do feel extremely angry, upset, resentful at the DB coming in. That is also, for me, one of the kind of byproducts of this that's concerning me a great deal are the local community groups who used to get support from local businesses and are no longer getting that funding, because they're saying they can't pay everything out of one pot, and if they're expected to pay the levy, then they cannot support the local groups. So we're having a double-edged whammy on this, really, that the local community groups are suffering quite badly because of the DBID. And I'm sure that there'll be people in this room thinking, well, you were actually part of Scarborough Council when this went through. And yes, I was. And yes, last year I did sit and I voted in agreement for the £15,000 that was asked for the consultation document that the bid process is going through. And at that time, I proposed that because it was a privately led initiative. And going from the paperwork before us, it was deemed that because this was a privately led initiative, that if we didn't support that, then we were penalising our local businesses. So that's why in that time I voted for it. When I was made aware that there was a wave of opposition against this, I did take it to Scarborough Council in January and I spoke quite strongly against it and did get wheels in motion, which I'm sure Councillor Locke will support me on, whereby the council were holding back on their position until the results of the Secretary of State came in, at which point it was then agreed in a motion, which I believe Councillor Locke put to Scarborough Council, that the next step would be to consult with local businesses and see where it went from there. That part of the motion hasn't happened yet, but it is for that reason that I'm seconding this motion, because there is an awful lot of opposition to this DBID out there, and it is affecting lots of our local areas.
Councillor Knox,
Councillor Knox. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, it would be hypocrisy in the extreme to accept and spend that money, and it would be like kicking our businesses in the teeth to condemn something that has gross opposition at the same time accepting funds from them. And the other thing I'd like to ask is, did we make a bid for the money after the council had had spoken against it?
Councillor Wilson? I don't know.
Well, I can say
we voted against it before it became...
Yeah, we voted against it in the consultation, right? But subsequent to that, it was democratically agreed, whether you agree with that process or not, don't get me wrong, that the DBID would go ahead. And funding became available to the DBID, and DBID opened the opportunity to apply for funding. So it was applied for. The same as we would apply to lots of other organisations and county council and Scarborough Council, etc.
Councillor Wilson.
Right, I am the chair of the events committee, and I'd just like to say that the Christmas festival is very popular and is growing year on year, and it costs a phenomenal amount of money to put on. And this money has to be found. And the event coordinators work tirelessly to apply for grants from numerous companies and funding sources. As a town council, we're limited to where we can apply. I don't see a reason why we should not apply for DBID funding. The money is there, it's for the people of Whitby, it is meant for such events. The way we voted is irrelevant. I voted Remain, I still have to leave the EU. The pot of money is there, and why shouldn't Whitby take its share?
Councillor Sumner.
Just as this money has come from Whitby businesses. It hasn't come to Whitby from elsewhere. It hasn't appeared from out of the sky. Per annum, this is costing £151,814 that's coming out of Whitby's local economy. That's local businesses that are paying into this pot. It's not coming from anywhere else. £30,362,000 are coming out of that in wages and administration. 42,000 is coming back in event marketing and promotion. There's another £80,000 that is unaccounted for, that's not coming back into Whitby. It's costing businesses. This is costing businesses. Had we gone to businesses and asked for however much money, knowing the generosity of spirit of the people that actually work
We've asked and we've asked and we've asked and we get nothing from businesses in Whitby.
Well, I'm sorry, but I have to say that, for instance, it was businesses that supported the marching band last year. It was businesses that got off their backsides and went out. They supported things like defibrillators, they supported things like all sorts of events that go on in the town. And to actually say that businesses in this town are not generous towards the people and
No,
the community.
I'm talking about to the town council and the Christmas festival.
You've had people sat here that said they'd rather give the big money to the town council
Yeah,
But we're talking about...
than take £30,000 wages.
Right, so are the businesses going to come up with £6,000 if we don't take it?
But what's the £6,000 going to? It's coming out of businesses' pockets. So you're not asking them, you're telling them.
So you would rather that we pay this money back and there's no Christmas festival?
There isn't a question, no Christmas festival.
There is.
That's about this.
Some of it is going towards evaluation so that we can go for future funding bills, right? Because unless, now we've got three councils that previously were in Scarborough Council, you know if you don't have correct evaluation of project, you don't get the opportunity to apply for funding bills, because we cannot prove how much that brings into this economy. Right? So some of that money is going for evaluation. The rest of it is on street performance to actually expand and make the festival bigger and better.
Can I just point one thing out? Last year, Councillor Winsper and I went to every business in this town and we didn't get a single penny.
You didn't come to my business. I didn't see either of you.
Councillor Stevens said.
I want to support the motion. Before I speak to it though, it's just a question, a clarification, because I may have misunderstood the question that was asked and the answer that was given from Councillor Dalrymple earlier. Has this money, did you say this money's already been spent when we see it spent?
Yes.
So it does kind of beg the question as to what the purpose of the resolution is, but I'm supporting it because on the principle that has been outlined by a number of speakers already, but mainly because of the unanimous support that the Yorkshire Coast businesses who've been lobbying about this matter, the unanimous support that they've received from the council. And I think as Councillor Knott pointed out, it does suggest a degree of hypocrisy on the part of the town council to then seek money from it. The figures that have been given by Councillor Sumner about the amount that this is costing local businesses doesn't come as a surprise to any of us sitting here, because those are some of the reasons that we unanimously rejected the whole idea of the division and decided to use our vote when the original ballot was conducted against it. I think there's been an error of judgment here. I'm not sure how we can turn that around if I'm understanding the process correctly, and it seems that I am. The process we've already gone through, but I think there was an error of judgment there. But I will support the motion anyway because of the sentiments that have been expressed in opposition to the division. I think given the resolution that was carried at Scarborough Borough Council yesterday, where there now seems to be a fairly widespread acknowledgement that there may have been something, to coin a phrase, rotten in the state of Denmark with the whole conduct of this process. It makes our position even more tenuous. But I think we need to carry this as an expression of our feelings about the
Councillor Darlington.
If we gave back the £6,000, would it be going back to the individual businesses then?
No.
So what would happen to the money?
It would go back into the DBID and somebody else will apply for it.
Right.
Councillor,
Thank you.
sorry, Councillor Turner.
Well, what's been said, I was just going to come back that there's been so much said, but I know within some of that conversation, there was kind of like, this is not coming across as criticism of the events committee, absolutely not. So Whitby Christmas Festival is absolutely superb. I'm not, I'm here sitting, acting on a motion that is in support of our local businesses and our local community groups that are suffering because of the DBID levy that has been put onto local businesses. And if this DBID had been passed and there was absolutely nowhere else for it to go, that it wasn't sitting at the Secretary of State, that there wasn't an independent investigation about to begin into it, then I would I'll leave it at that. This is not a criticism on the Whitby Christmas Festival event. It is supporting the local businesses.
Councillor Smith.
Yes, that's Madam Mayor, Council. Just a slight tangent. Whitby Blue has lost out because people said they can't afford to support it this year.
Councillor Wilson.
What's happening with the Secretary of State, what happened yesterday with Salford Borough Council is not relevant to this motion. That's all I'm going to say. It's not relevant, it's completely separate thing. If the Secretary of State rules in favour of the anti-DBIDers, then it's all well and good. But that isn't going to stop, that isn't going to help. I mean, if we have to pay this money back, you are endangering the Christmas Festival, okay, if you want to do that. But
Yeah, we have contracts, so the full council, the council's not saying it.
sorry, take that straight
We
away.
have to pay back straight away.
We haven't claimed it. What
We've spent it, but we haven't got it.
you don't think you get this money until you've actually spent it. It's exactly the same with thousands of funding streams that we use, right? We have already committed that funding that we've been given by DBID.
Okay, so that's just from merit.
Right.
It's been approved, it hasn't been spent yet.
Well,
It's been allocated for spending, but it hasn't been spent.
Yes, it's been, we've committed to contracts. Right. We've hired people on the presumption that we would have this money. So if we don't take up DBID funding, we are £6,000 short for our Christmas festival. Right, we've already entered into contracts on both of these things, but we're out of the DBID money, because it has to be very specific what we used it for. So consequently, the town council have got to come up with £6,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm understanding that, and as Councillor Turner says, you know, bring this motion to full council. You know, it isn't, you know, looking at, you know, kind of criticising the events team and for the you know, for the event itself. But I can't see how in good conscience, we can take it. I mean, £6,000, you know, it's a lot of money, and we've got to find something. And we're going to, whether we have to do it now, we're going to have to find. For me, we're going to have to find a way to get that money, because you know the swell out there isn't just 3 or 4 of us saying, look, there's a lot of people saying, you know, it's a bad idea. It just is a bad idea. And there's not just some of the bigger businesses, there's small businesses who are refusing to pay this levy. You know, and they're putting their business at risk, they're putting their good name at risk, they're looking at breaking the law by not paying this. That deserves our support.
That also is not part of the motion. The motion.
Sorry, I just wanted to speak, that's all.
Yeah, but
I have my name on it, on radio, and I let everybody speak in front of me.
We're talking about things that aren't on the motion,
but it's given a reason why I put the motion forward. Sorry, Madam Mayor.
I can't bash anything here, it's not good. Don't mean I'm push over though. I can understand if by saying this £6,000 we're not going to pay would put back to businesses that are paid into the levy. If we were giving it direct back to businesses, I would say, yes, we won't take it, give it back to the businesses. But it's not, it's going to go back into the pot and somebody else is going to then put in a bid for that £6,000 and take it. The money is not going to be sat there, people are going to be applying for this money all the time. And for me, the Christmas festival is growing and growing and growing. And we've got people, the hype on social media is, we've got bus trips coming, we've got this coming, we've got that coming. Now, I have had a look at what has been proposed with the money, and all I can say is that it's going to be amazing, it's going to blow people's minds. And I support Hero, I support Nani, I support Helen and Ian. If I knew that money was going back to them businesses, then I would support this motion, but it's not. It's going to go back into the pot, and somebody else is just going to have that money. Whether it's us, whether it's somebody else.
Can I correct you on that? If and when the Secretary of State reviews it and they have to reballot it, that money has to be refunded to the people that have paid into it. It doesn't go back into a pot and get taken away.
No,
I just want to make that clear, that people get refunded. So where businesses have paid into this, whether they've paid into it, and I know this for a fact, where they paid into it, if they paid into it by mistake, whether they've been scared into paying it, those people, once and if and when the bid gets overturned, they will be refunded. If we spend that money, they won't get it refunded. And I can assure you.
Whether it's spent by us or spent by Joe Blocks in Scarborough or...
No, it won't. They have to ring-fence
things that are not part of this motion. But we're discussing the motion doesn't mention anything. It says we're just pending the appeal. The appeal hasn't gone through. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Why should we turn down money that we need because we voted against it? Like I say, I voted Remain. I have to leave Europe eventually because Brexit will happen.
Yeah, that's politics.
That's politics.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is...
But sometimes you've got to do the right thing.
Somebody else is going to apply for that money. And then we expect to apply for that money and take it.
I think the problem that we face as a body here is that, you know, when we say if we didn't take it, some other group of people or some other people would apply for it. We're not just some other people, we're the town council, and amongst the residents that we represent, there is and has been a huge opposition, and opposition that this council has unanimously supported. And particularly given what happened to Scarborough Borough Council yesterday, I'm concerned at the message that is sent, not only to the community, not only to the businesses who are opposing the DB, but to anyone else involved in the process of examining this appeal, including the Secretary of State. This unfortunately goes beyond a simple matter of the sum of £6,000 and whether or not we're able to replace it. Had the DBID simply, the whole process, the whole story, if you like, of DBID ended at the time that the ballot ended, and there had not been this ongoing controversy, which is leading not only to serious political but legal challenges as well, then, you know, I think the arguments that are being presented as to why we should get our share, given that Whitby businesses are already put in, are very sound arguments, but that's not the case. It is a live matter, and I think we have to be seen. It's a little bit like justice, I suppose. It's not a question of just being done, it has to be seen to be done. And I'm very concerned that if we don't carry this resolution tonight, we're sending a very conflicted message to the community, and in particular those traders in Whitby that have carried on this fight.
Right, let's move to the vote. Could I ask for a recorded vote? So all in favour of the motion? Councillor Barnett, are you voting?
I'm abstaining. Don't understand the issues.
Against? Abstention? Motion carries.
Right, so,
Could I just ask a question now on process? Because effectively that vote means the council has said we will now be short of £6,000. What does the council do to cover that £6,000? Because that vote has got consequences. So what's the process?
where do you want us to get the £6,000 from?
I would put forward a proposal that actually full council should recommend to the finance committee where the £6,000 comes from.
The finance committee, you haven't got it.
No, but whatever happens, it's going to have consequences. I think that decision has got to be made by full council.
The one consequence will be that we will go over budget at the end of this year, certainly on the event committee, for the Christmas festival. So you will have a shortfall in the general reserve, you will have a minus figure in the general reserve, so therefore, to put that back into balance, you would have to put precept up.
So everybody would be then paid.
Okay, thank you.
I think £6,000 is a relatively small price to pay for integrity.
Yeah.
Angel. Item number 10 is to confirm as an accurate record of minutes of the following for council meeting and receive minutes of committee meetings. Copy herewith, otherwise stated.
Envelope, please. I've got a comment on C.
C what? You are only here to receive those minutes. You're not discussing them. You're not here to discuss those minutes. Those minutes, if they're inaccurate, will be discussed at the next joint management meeting.
Right, so when can I tell you that they're inaccurate?
Sorry?
When can I tell you that I think they're inaccurate?
At the next joint management meeting.
Right.
Because all you're doing here is receiving that information.
Have we got a second for on block? Councillor Burke. All in favour of taking them on block? Against? All against? Abstention? No. So all in favour of receiving the minutes?
You are approving the full council minutes as a correct record because you are the full council.
And
right?
receiving.
And you are receiving the minutes of all the committees.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Wilson, Councillor Winchester. All in favour? Against? Members of the Court, to receive reports from members nominated to represent the council and outside bodies, which had a new consultative group, we all got things to do for that.
Yeah, nobody from the council.
Before it's kind of changed, didn't we, Council
don't think we're pretending over.
No, we have three people who can attend this meeting. First is Councillor Wilder, who's on holiday, she sent her apologies. I don't think Councillor Jackson could have got her, because I informed Councillor Jackson that, well, Councillor Wilder actually said she couldn't attend, didn't she? And you couldn't attend. You couldn't attend, you included on the email. Are you using your council email?
Because that's what I use.
Doesn't help.
Yeah, well, all your thoughts on it, and I really can't.
Right. So that's why I do that.
Can we have a move on a second to receive that?
Councillor Stevens,
Councillor Jackson, all in favour of receiving? Giving awareness, cancellation, council site contract meetings, 3rd, 4th, 15th, 16th. The 1st to 14th, the 25th to 26th, 27th to 28th, and 29th of November. Councillor Peter, Councillor Wilson, second to Councillor Darlington, all in favour of receiving. Councillor Derrick? Yes. We've got a vote.